then refill them with fish. 1 pound of fish equals a pound of water.
And then they take those fish and then go outside the gate, because we don't get any pollution in here.
Right.
And then they load them on, and then those trucks go hither and yon, am I correct?
Right. Anywhere from Cape May to New York State border we stock.
And then you stock all that fish.
Right.
Again, how many fish do you stock in a given season?
We stock on our spring stocking program. We put out about 600,000 10.5-inch fish average. We also have a fall stocking program where we stock approximately 50,000 9.5-inch fish, plus some surplus fish off our sorters, the smaller ones that we get rid of out of the hatchery. We have a winter stocking program that we stock in just before Thanksgiving. We stock some lakes, and just lakes, basically in South Jersey and North Jersey, and we put out about 12,000. And we also run a sea run trout program down the Manasquan River from here.
This is a pretty interesting thing. You're getting good results from that?
Yes, we are starting to see some returns on that, on the sea run program. We're seeing fairly large 7, 8, 9, 10-pound fish being returned to us at this point in time.
That's great. And on site here, I know you have a pond down there. Can people come and can they fish down there, or is that just for your work purpose?
Yeah, our pond is part of the education program that they run up front here, and we bring school groups in here and we actually teach kids how to fish in the pond. The pond is well stocked, so the chances of a kid catching a fish in that pond are pretty good.
Oh, that's cool. That's really good.
And that's our intent, basically.
And the stream out front of the property is also stocked, and that's public.
That's public water access, and actually the state owns all the land around that. It's part of the Peak West wildlife management area here.
And I know you mentioned that's a catch and release type of...
Well, we have a conservation stretch down here at the hatchery. I think it's 1 mile stretch where throughout the winter you're only allowed to keep one fish 15 inches. Now those conservation regulations, they go out of effect on opening day. So basically, you can keep 6 fish out of that stretch. Then before our last stocking in May, the conservation rules go back into effect where you can only keep 1 fish above the 15-inch level.
Jeff, the facility here itself is how many acres?
The hatchery itself is 50 acres, encompassed within the 4,000 of the wildlife management area. We have 64 raceways on site. Each raceway is 100 feet long by 10 feet wide by 2.5 feet deep. And in each one of these raceways, there's approximately 12,500 fish at this time of the year.
In each one of these raceways, each one of these segments is...
Right.
Well, of course, you said you're heavy now because you're really ready.
We're into our stocking season right now, absolutely.
And I noticed, though, you have a wire that runs along each one of these things. What's that for?
We have some bird problems throughout the year, and basically the wire is covering our great blue heron problem. This is like a smorgasbord for the herons in here, and what we've done, since herons they'll feed off the walls, is we have this electric fence installed, and it'll just give them a little shock and scare them off. And it's very effective.
It doesn't harm them.
No, it doesn't harm them at all. Just scares them off, and once they're hit by the fence, they won't come back again.
They don't come back.
No.
Because they can do a damage to your
Oh yes, yes. Not only the damage, they can bring in diseases also from the outside. And other problems we have seagull problems certain times of the year. And we have propane cannons here, and we also have a device called Scary Man, which is a thing that it's on a timer, and it blows up, and it blows a siren, and this plastic bag blows up and looks like a man, and it scares the birds off also.
Geez, I could do that. I could just walk around here. I'm sure I could scare the birds. One other question that I have for you. The amount of water that goes through here, I know you have a huge aerator up there. Explain how that all works.
Okay, all of our water from the Peak West Valley here is collected into an aerator building at the head end of the raceways here. This water comes out of the aerator building and is split between these upper raceways. There's a 500-foot section of each raceway side here. The water flows down through it, gravitational flow, and it's re-aerated again before it goes through our lower section, which is a 300-foot length.
Down
at the bottom of the hatchery here.
And then where does that go from there?
Okay, the water is let out of here, and it goes to our education pond, and it's split there in between the Peak West River. So everything, basically what leaves here, goes to the Peak West River to water-wise.
And it's as clean as, basically?
It is as clean as when it comes in. We have our own treatment facility here that the solids from the fish waste are settled out in. And we collect those up at our treatment plant facility. And what we've done with the solids, the waste from the fish, is that we work with the local farmers here in the area, and we use it as fertilizer, and it's land applied. Oh,
well, that's really good. I'll tell you what, it's really amazing to see how this all works and comes together, because it's a fine-tuned machine that you have.
It's very fine-tuned.
Another interesting part of the hatchery is their educational program, and I'm going to meet Mim Dunn, and she's going to tell us all about it. Mim, how you doing?
Hi, Bob.
You have an educational program here also at the hatchery. Tell us about it.
We do. We're open every day. Folks can come up on weekends to take a self-guided tour. They can see where the fish are raised and have a picnic, take a hike, do some fishing come opening day of trout season.
That's what we got to remember, the opening day. And you have a video that you actually show here too?
We do. It's about 15 minutes and just shows how the fish are raised here at the hatchery. That kind of adds a lot to the experience as you're walking around and seeing for yourself.
And you said you can come up here at picnic lunch, you can come up and there's a self-guided tour also that you can take of the hatchery?
Yes, self-guided tour. We also have groups scheduled here for tours, and we're doing fishing education here come April 9th.
And I know you have like a lot of school groups come up for the day, I guess.
We do, yeah. We have groups that come for a tour, and we have groups that come for their fishing education programs also.
And I know you have a website here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they needed more information, they can just go to your website. Could you give us a website?
Right. It's njfishandwildlife.com. And all our programs are free here also.
Oh, that's really good. I know. And you know what? You can also get your fishing license here too, right?
That's right.
And we'll make sure that you come up and say, "Well, I want to go fishing." Well, you can go fishing because you can get your license. Ben, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks a lot for coming by, Bob.
Bob, this is our broodstock area. This is where we house all our broodstock throughout the year. These fish we're looking at right now, we'll be taking eggs from this September. Let me show you one if I can get one. Bob, these are our broodstock. These are 2-year-old rainbows that we're going to be stripping this September. Each fish gives about 1,800 to 2,000 eggs.
And these are your rainbows?
These are the rainbows here, right.
Wow.
These fish go probably about 2.5 pounds each at this point
And
in
now
time.
you say a portion of these go back into the stream.
Right.
When we stock.
When we start our spring stocking program, 2% of every load of fish that goes out of this hatchery in preparation for opening day has broodstock on it. So our broodstock usually averages between 14 and 20 inches and up to 5 pounds.
That's great. That is absolutely great. What we have here is the feed, or the pellets that you guys use to feed the fish. Jeff, tell us what's actually in these things.
Well, this is a high-protein manufactured diet formulated by the federal government, and it's commercially produced out in Pennsylvania. There's fish meal in here, there's vitamins. It's a really high-protein diet because we do average about anywhere from 0.8 to 1 inch a month growth on these fish.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Now, how many times do you feed the fish?
These larger fish, like you see here in the raceways now, are fed 4 times a day.
Wow.
With our feed truck. Inside in our nursery building, the smaller fingerling fish are fed 8 times a day.
Wow, 4 times a day. And then he just drives up and down each raceway.
Right.
Now, for each species, is it the same pellet, or is it anything for the rainbows versus the browns?
Well, it's the same pellets for all the species here, but the feed is calculated out on our projection of growth. We want to average 10.5 inches by mid-March. So we project our feed program out to make the fish grow to 10.5 inches. So we have a real control over how fast these fish grow here.
It's amazing how you can do that with the feeding program that you have.
Continuous water flow and a constant temperature here. This water is 52 degrees year-round coming out of the ground.
And that really helps them.
Yes, it does. It's a constant.
Right. I just want to make sure. This is not power bait. Trust me. All right, watch this. You got to see this. This is going to be unbelievable.